Guten Morgen. Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Webinar Nearshoring Optionen in den baltischen Ländern und in der Ukraine. Mein Name ist Ingrid Valentini-Wanka und ich bin die Wirtschaftsdelegierte in Riga. Zusammen mit meiner Kollegin Gabriele Haselsberger aus Kiew freuen wir uns sehr, dass Sie heute live dabei sind. Warum machen wir dieses Webinar gemeinsam? Sowohl die Ukraine als auch Estland, Lettland und Litauen sind interessante Wachstumsmärkte und punkten mit Qualität in der Industriefertigung, aber auch mit fortschrittlicher IT und Global Business Services. Und warum machen wir es gerade jetzt? In der heutigen Zeit der Pandemie ist die Überlegung sehr stark, wie internationale Lieferketten in nähere Märkte gebracht werden können. Das viel zitierte Nearshoring. Und wir wollen einfach unsere Märkte, die vielleicht bei Ihnen noch nicht so im Fokus stehen, vor den Vorhang holen. Kurz zum Ablauf. Wir haben in der Organisation zwei Blöcke vorgesehen. Einmal die Ukraine und dann die baltischen Staaten. Und wir werden auch zwei getrennte Question-and-Answer-Session machen. Daher die Bitte an Sie, Fragen, die die Ukraine betreffen, bis zum Question-and-Answer-Block, dem ersten zur Ukraine, einzuberichten. Wir haben eine ganze Reihe von interessanten Sprechern für Sie vorgesehen. And as these speakers are not German speaking, I take the pleasure to introduce them now to you, to welcome them. You have their names on the slides. We are very happy that they will share their views and insights about nearshoring possibilities in their countries and be available for questions. Noch jetzt kurz zum organisatorischen Ablauf. Das Webinar wird circa 1/4 Stunde dauern und vor allem in Englisch stattfinden. Aber damit möchte ich dann schon zum fachlichen Teil überleiten. Der Auftakt ist mit der Ukraine. Deshalb lade ich jetzt sehr herzlich meine Kollegin Gabriele Haselsberger ein, sich zuzuschalten. Ich freue mich sehr, dass wir das zusammen unternehmen, dieses Webinar, und unsere beiden Standorte in Europa, innerhalb und außerhalb der EU, gemeinsam vorstellen können. Gabi, das Mikrofon ist bei dir. Ich melde mich dann nachher wieder zurück.
Vielen Dank, liebe Ingrid. Ja, einen schönen guten Morgen aus Kiew und auch von meiner Seite herzlich willkommen. Mein Name ist Gabriele Haselsberger und ich bin die österreichische Wirtschaftsdelegierte in Kiew. In den kommenden 20 Minuten geht es also rund um die Ukraine, zum einen um Produktionsmöglichkeiten und zum anderen um das Thema IT-Outsourcing. Sie sehen auf der Karte auf der linken Seite, dass die Ukraine gar nicht so weit entfernt ist von Österreich. Von Lviv im Westen der Ukraine bis nach Wien sind es in etwa 8 bis 9 Stunden mit dem Pkw. Die Ukraine grenzt im Westen an 4 Länder der Europäischen Union, aber nicht nur geografisch, sondern auch wirtschaftlich hat sich die Ukraine in den letzten Jahren sehr stark an den europäischen Wirtschaftsraum angenähert. Die EU und die Ukraine sind durch ein Abkommen und eine Zollunion verbunden. Und das bedeutet, dass die Ukraine schrittweise dazu verpflichtet ist, ihre Standards und Normen an unsere Standards anzupassen. Zollsätze sind weitestgehend bereits auf 0 gesenkt worden. Diese starke Ausrichtung Richtung EU hat auch dazu geführt, dass ukrainische Betriebe immer mehr Erfahrungen mit internationalen Auftraggebern und Partnern gesammelt haben und dass sich auch das Qualitätsbewusstsein dahingehend geändert hat. Qualität ist auch schon das Stichwort für unsere erste Speakerin, Frau Olga Trofimova. Sie ist zertifizierte Auditorin für ISO-Standards und Trainerin für Qualitätsmanagement. Durch diese Tätigkeit verbringt sie sehr viel Zeit in den Betrieben, in den Produktionsstätten und hat daher auch gute Einblicke in die hiesige Industrielandschaft. Gleich in Anschluss an Frau Trofimova kommt dann Konstantin Wasiuk. Er ist CEO der größten IT-Association Ukraine. Er wird uns einen Überblick über die Kooperationsmöglichkeiten mit der IT-Szene geben. Abschließend noch ein schneller Veranstaltungshinweis von mir. Und zwar, falls Sie noch nicht angemeldet sind, die International Machinery Days finden schon nächste Woche statt. Und bitte melden Sie sich an. Es werden auch Teilnehmer aus der Ukraine dabei sein. Auch Frau Trofimova wird als Participant dabei sein. Sie können da bilaterale Termine vereinbaren. So I will switch to English now to introduce our speaker, Olga Trofimova. It's a great pleasure having you here today, Olga. We are very much looking forward that you share your experiences and your very personal insights into Ukraine's industry sector. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Gabriele, and thank you for inviting me for this event. I would like to give you a short introduction to some main benefits and main advantages to work with Ukraine. So I will give you small facts, basic facts, and then I will just switch to success stories and some benefits for partnership. So as for small key facts, I would like to stress only that during last 4 years, we are stable and predictable emerging market and has been steadily growing during last 4 years. As you see, we have quite good indicators by Moody and others, and actually during last 4 years, we have really GDP growth. So as for EU trade, so the EU trade is the biggest actually trade with Ukraine. And as you see, the half of this trade is mostly machinery and manufacturing products. That's why I would like to stay more with success stories about machinery and some sectors as automotive, electronic, aerospace, and medical equipment. So about generally machinery sector, right now, as you see, there are more than 4,500 enterprises and about 17 employees, 17% of our population. So the biggest machinery companies, most of them, they export into other countries, and as you see, they're also quite developed. So the first one, I would like to tell you about automotive sector. And as you see, we have right now international 22 companies with 38 factories around Ukraine. And I would like to say that right now and exactly this year and last year, they're growing twice. And they're growing and opening new production sites and new production plants and increasing rapidly. Actually, as for geographic, of course, from logistic point of view, most of them are located in western part of Ukraine, but not only. So if we are talking about western part of Ukraine, you see the major players are Krombacher and Schubert, who has 2 production sites and almost 7,000 employees. For example, Leoni, they do have also 2 production sites and more than 6,000 employees. CBN, they have 4 production sites and have also more than 6,000 employees. Prettel right now is building 2 new construction sites, production sites. Coastal also have right now under construction of new production site. And I think this is the biggest success story, and it really could show you the trends that they're growing and they're still in the market and they're increasing in this market. Moreover, in the central part and eastern part of Ukraine, we have some Ukrainian companies who are ITF certified, and they also supply to European companies and supply, of course, to OEMs. So they are tier 1 or tier 2, but supply to famous OEMs like Volkswagen, BMW, Fiat, and others. As for electronics, so during last 30 years, electronics is also developing in our country. And right now we do have not only foreign players, but also local players. And for example, Ukrainian company Ajax, and right now they're going to IPO, and they're also developing and producing and supply to many famous European companies. If we are talking about aerospace industry, we're still proud of it and we still have potential. As you know, we have the biggest plane RIA in Ukraine, and we're still engaged in many aerospace projects. And for example, our company Arsenal, last year they had really successful project for a rocket launch vehicle Antares for orbital company, and they do not just contractual production, they have developed the components and produced in Ukraine. So we do have, as you see, also foreign aerospace business, and mostly they work with research and development. As for medical devices, we do have also some players. All of them are Ukrainian, and most of their production is going to Europe. Again, they are not only contractual production, but they also developing products. So which again show us as quite developed R&D and IT component, which are also included in medical devices right now. So why we say about Ukraine? Of course, not only about our big size and about big capacities, but also about other opportunities which we do have. So first of all, we definitely could solve your challenges and solve challenges which now are approached in Europe. So we definitely have good potential for R&D sector, and of course we couldn't say that we are 4 times cheaper production than in Germany, and we 2.5 lower labor costs than in China, and 10 times lower labor cost than in Germany and Austria. So it definitely could be benefits, but also I would like to mention that now we have FTA with EU and duty-free import from EU from last year, from 2019, and next year we will have duty-free export to EU, which also could be a big advantage. About cost competitiveness, of course, we have lowest utilities cost and electricity, you see, comparison with other countries. But the interesting thing is when I was in a conference in December for Central Europe, and about shortening supply chain. Do you know why in Poland and Czech Republic there was so big decrease? Because 80% of their employees are Ukrainians. And during last year, most of Ukrainians come back to Ukraine. And that's why, of course, they had some problems. And that's why we now say, you're welcome to Ukraine. You're welcome to open companies or give some contracts to Ukrainian companies. Because we do have 42 million population. We do have 70% of high educated people. And of course, we are hardworking and creative and ready to work. Most of us already English speaking and could definitely help in developing your business. So we do have good ranks in human capital, and again we are on the first place not only for competitive labor cost and skilled human capital, but also workforce availability. And again, if we will talk about last year, not 2019, we are definitely now on the first place. And even compare with other countries, not European, but for example, Tunis and Morocco, right now we do have lowest cost for human capital. So as for logistics, we definitely potential could be Eurasian hub. And we do have 23 airports, 13 seaports, and a lot of kilometers of rail lines and roadways. So that's why we definitely could have big potential and it could be really good advantage for you. I also would like to say that I'm a cluster manager of Ukrainian automotive and mobility cluster, and our mission really to be a reliable partner for EU companies and to promote localization in Ukraine. These are our members, and we are also right now full members of European Automotive Cluster Network. So I would like to thank you, and I'm looking forward to a fruitful collaboration. And now I would like to give the floor to Konstantin Vasuk, who is Executive Director of IT Association of Ukraine, as the biggest IT association, and he will tell you also some advantages to work with our IT sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Olga. Hello, everyone. Let me introduce in brief IT industry of Ukraine and present our association as well, in order to give you more information about any options, additional opportunities to cooperate with the Ukrainian IT industry. So, Ukraine IT Association, we were working on this market as NGO, we NGO, and we work for 15 years in Ukraine. We unite now more than 52,000 people working in 54 companies, our members. The scale of our members, of our companies, very wide, so, and we unite service companies, product companies, and companies incorporated and public, even public companies, so all over the world. Our market, our goal, target market, we will speak later about it, but now we work mostly, at Ukrainian industry works mostly for export. So we have so most of our activities are to promote the brand of Ukraine and to promote our country like leading developer and supplier of IT products and services of very high quality in the world. And of course, we help companies and our businesses to get contacts and customers in international markets. Of course, we work with education and implement educational and social projects. As an example, during COVID, when the COVID started, this issue started. Unfortunately, it was very dramatic last year. But we united with our members and we gathered a lot of resources and money to support our medical system. For example, it's a social project, but we reacted immediately and united immediately behind this threat. So we provide legal and PR support for members, and not only our members, but all IT companies working in Ukrainian market. And of course, we protect the interests of our members and IT industry in order to allow further growth. So in general, this is a picture, a very brief picture of our industry today. We have more than 20,000 IT specialists, and these people and these companies generates more than $5 billion dollar export, and more than 4,000 companies are working and growing now in Ukraine. So, and of course, this growth of 20% last year, I mean the export growth, indicates that of course we have some global economic changes, and it was like slowdown. It was like slowdown for our industry, but still we have good potential and now very fast recovery after this crisis. So we have more or less, let's say, the most important hubs. It's 5 cities, but now we see 9 cities on our map. The concentration of IT companies and IT specialists. As I told you, that we have most concentrated and hubs, let's say IT hubs, it's Kyiv, Lviv, Kharkiv, Dnipro, and Odessa. These regions are fast growing, and they attract a lot of new companies and new specialists, because the existing infrastructure and the existing IT community allow to to be most efficient in this business, because our business grows due to people, due to talents. So this is most used programming languages. Maybe it's not so interesting, but you see that we have a very wide range of expertise, and let's say that our specialists, the average age of our IT specialists is 27 now. And these people are very experienced, and they have experience more than 5, 7, 9 years even in the industry. It gives us very, let's say, huge benefits and competitive advantages. If you're speaking about top markets where we export our services, so of course it's the most common and the biggest market is United States now. It's more than 70% of IT export goes to United States customers. Great Britain and Germany also very important markets, and they are still, yes, really intensively grow. And Netherlands, Canada, and what is interesting thing that last years the growing markets is Nordic countries, and we do a lot to develop this business in these countries. And now we have some projects like first Ukrainian International Export Alliance. We united 20 companies and we help them to enter new markets. This year it's in focus Germany, Norway and Finland. If we speak about most, let's say, most industries and focuses with whom we're working with, so it's e-commerce, enterprise business, of course, and finance. Most growing sectors now, travel, you know, due to COVID, they just slow down, but health, education is also still growing, very fast growing sector. So this picture will change by no means in 1-2 years later, but we see that enterprise, e-commerce, e-health, and this is in finance, this most important sector. So we have very high expertise in these sectors and ready to grow further and develop new projects, because now digital transformation really important issue for most of the businesses. And really we have most important benefits which I should talk about. So of course it's tech education. Our people are very well educated. English proficiency, of course, cultural compatibility, and no any, let's say, essential cultural differences. Exactly, working with the European markets much more easy for both for customers and for our companies. And we still have recognitions, I mean, like very high quality services with affordable price, and of course high level of creativity. This is essential part of Ukrainian IT developers, and for you who already has experience, for example, working with our IT companies, maybe appreciate this very high, because our creativity and ability to find the optimal solution for in very short terms and high quality of delivery, this is our brand, Ukrainian brand now. And of course the issues of securities, very high level of technical security of all operations and products. So, and that's why maybe we have some, we well recognized and by globally, and of course one fact that over 100 companies from Fortune 500 lists our customers and our clients. So it sounds, it speaks for itself. And of course we have now the period of very intensive growth of R&D centers, and not only in IT, but mostly you see on this slide some companies who has R&D centers in Ukraine and fast growing businesses here. So we understand that now due to these global changes and global even principles of business model changes in the world, we very adopted, we are ready for new challenges very well. Our industry shows essential and year to year very good figures of growth. And the most important thing, maybe we have enough talents to work with this demand, with global demand on the IT markets. And we open for cooperation. Like association, we are platform and we are entry point to Ukraine. So if we speak about expanding our cooperation or growing markets or entering new markets, we are the first partners for both for clients and for our members, for our companies, and not only our members, but all IT companies which has development centers in Ukraine. And we goes very internationally. So thank you for attention. And I would like to hand over to Gabriela, and we are looking forward for your questions, because we're quite inspired, and we know that Ukraine is sometimes it's like mystic country, because a lot of information, but if you didn't have any businesses yet, it's very good to start to cooperate and to open new opportunities with us. So we are looking forward for your questions, and thank you
very much, Konstantin. Thank you very much. Olga has joined us as well. That's perfect. The first question to Konstantin, it's a very practical question. How to identify a potential partner for a concrete project? Is there a database or a platform where we can find a potential partner? Could you give some recommendations? Because you mentioned 200,000 specialists and 2,000 companies. So how to pick the right one?
Yeah, so a very good question. Thank you very much. So I would like to say that very simple. We have two approaches to propose. First, of course, we have different aggregators. We have some databases, but maybe the most easy way to address us these requests, because we are your partners here, we are extension, let's say, yeah, and we can connect you direct and exactly with the most maybe affordable, the better partner what you need, because your project we not only giving some context, we just study the project, the request, we understand whom to address it, and we connect, because our reputation gives us right to say, guys, we would like to recommend this partner or this, and we somehow guarantee, but up by our reputation, by our experience, the exactly best result to match the partners. Of course, it's one way. Second way, we organize business missions and business events, now mostly online, but next events will be in the frame of the IT Expert Alliance, which I just already mentioned. And also we can connect you with the group of companies with exact expertise you need, etc., etc. So first step, just give us a note and write us directly or through our website with contacts. We can connect with potential partners.
Thank you very much. And another question to you, Konstantin. A company is considering a cooperation or setting up a company. Could you recommend going that step to setting up a company to hire own IT specialists?
Exactly. Both models working. We have, except our members, we have partners of associations, high qualified law companies, consultants, with very affordable price and conditions and terms. They can support you in establishing company or consult you with some issues. And even, of course, we have a very powerful, let's say, I mean, letters to government, you know, we call it. We have power to solve some other maybe bureaucratic issues, you know, if they appear. So, I mean, like association. But our partners can give you full support in establishing your business here and hire specialists. Yes, we have deficit now, but we hire also online from abroad as well. It's a very interesting trend. So, but anyway, establishing office here is quite a good idea, and please believe me that there is no any big obstacles about it. It's not huge budgets. It's just presence here gives you opportunity to hire best people here, if you need.
And we support our Austrian companies, of course, as well in doing these steps.
Exactly.
Olga, one question to you. What about e-mobility? Are there any interesting opportunities coming up in Ukraine? Are there current investments already in e-mobility? Can you see some trends there?
Thank you so much. Yes, we are working with this, and actually, for example, now we are working with a strategic group for e-mobility in Ukraine for future. And as you know, maybe that the biggest amount of lithium is in Ukraine, in the western part of Ukraine. And we do have industrial park there. So we definitely are working already, some have negotiations with potential investor. And we are looking forward for e-mobility in Ukraine.
And another very quick question before we give the floor to Riga again. You mentioned that many Ukrainians work abroad. But if you produce here, is it still possible to find the right people, or do you have to look for employees? Or in which regions of Ukraine could you recommend for the production?
Nice question. Actually, I would recommend even to central part or maybe even eastern part, because there are more employees available. But in the western part, there are also a lot of employees. Moreover, again, during 2020, during this pandemic, all our employees, I mean Ukrainians, come back from Poland and Czech Republic, and they were working in automotive sector, in automotive companies, and right now they have really good skills to do it. So they're already ready.
Coming back.
Sure.
Thank you very much. And that was it from Ukraine. Thank you very much for joining us. And now back to Riga. Ingrid will continue.
Yeah, thank you, Gabi. And also thank you to our Ukrainian experts. But now let's move over to the Baltics. Und wenn ich Baltikum sage, dann sollte ich eigentlich korrekter von den 3 baltischen Ländern sprechen. Denn Estland, Lettland und Litauen haben zwar eine große Gemeinsamkeit, aber es sind ja doch unterschiedliche Länder mit verschiedenen Sprachen, mit einer eigenen Tradition und einer unterschiedlichen Geschichte. In einer allgemeinen Markteinführung darf ich natürlich schon über die Region allgemein etwas sagen. Und für alle 3 Länder gilt, dass sie sich seit Jahren auf einem sehr ehrgeizigen Wachstums- und Konversionskurs in Richtung westeuropäisches Wohlstandsniveau entwickeln. Aber dann kam 2020 Corona und alles wurde es anders. Die kleinen, offenen Volkswirtschaften dieser 3 Länder sind natürlich von den weltweiten wirtschaftlichen Pandemiefolgen unweigerlich miterfasst. Sie haben die erste Welle sehr gut überstanden, weil die Fallzahlen auch sehr gering waren und daher die wirtschaftliche Tätigkeit geringer zurückgeschraubt werden musste. Im zweiten Halbjahr sind dann die Krankheitsfälle leider wieder auch hier sehr stark gestiegen. Daher mussten die Erwartungen, dass man auf das Vorkrisenniveau zurückkehrt, jetzt auf 2022 verschoben werden. Aber auch für das Gesamtjahr 2020 ist der Rückgang des Bruttoinlandsproduktes in diesen Ländern im Vergleich zu anderen europäischen Ländern sehr gering. In Litauen zum Beispiel nur 0,8%. Und was den Ländern helfen wird am Weg zurück zur wirtschaftlichen Normalität, sind die enormen Mittel, die von der EU zur Verfügung stehen für EU-Mitgliedsländer. Das ist einerseits der Recovery Fund und andererseits ist auch glücklicherweise der mehrjährige Strukturrahmen dann doch großzügiger ausgefallen, als ursprünglich wegen des Brexit befürchtet wurde. Das heißt, Investitionen bleiben ein wichtiger Wachstumsmotor und werden auch österreichischen Firmen viele Chancen bieten. Der Trend zu diesen neuen Wertschöpfungsketten, den die Pandemie ausgelöst hat, ist etwas, was die baltischen Länder für sich nützen wollen, damit internationale Firmen vermehrt die Länder als geeigneten Standort für ihr Nearshoring entdecken können. Das sind Faktoren wie schon erwähnte Qualität der Industriefertigung, gute Ausbildung der Leute, gute Fremdsprachenkenntnisse, zwar höheres, aber immer noch moderates Lohnniveau. Aber vielleicht auch wichtig zu erwähnen ist das extrem hohe Niveau der Digitalisierung und das wirtschaftlich extrem freundliche Umfeld. Alle 3 baltischen Länder liegen im World Bank Ranking unter den Top 10%, was das Ease of Doing Business betrifft. Und jetzt möchte ich noch kurz unsere Sprecher vorstellen. So let me switch to English now. As I said before, we often talk about the Baltics, but it is 3 countries, and therefore we have invited 3 speakers to give you a very short flash introduction of what their countries can offer in terms of nearshoring opportunities. So let me quickly go through them, starting from north to south. We have first Vahur Lepik, Deputy Head of Global Business Development at Enterprise Estonia. He will be followed by Mikus Krishans, Senior Investment Advisor at the Latvian Investment and Development Agency, and then Ruta Krishunaite, Investment Advisor for Global Business Services and IT at Invest Lithuania, will conclude the trio. And moreover, we thought that a testimonial of an Austrian company that has already successfully opened a production subsidiary in the Baltics would be appreciated by the Austrian audience to conclude the virtual journey through the Baltic states. Antti Orav, the CEO of Pipelife Estonia, has kindly agreed to share his extensive experience with you. So now, without further ado, let me invite Vahur Lepik to start our tour through the Baltics. He will explain why Estonia is not just the digital paradise, but has also more to offer. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Ingrid. So, guten Morgen aus Tallinn, Estland. Ich heiße Vahur Lepik. My name is Vahur. Switch to English since that's the most German I still remember. And I'll give you a small interview, a quick interview overview of why Estonia is definitely a place to consider as a location for nearshoring. So as you probably know, Estonia is the smallest country among the 4 presenting here today in both the area and population, but still I would definitely say Estonia punches above its weight. For example, having the highest GDP per capita among the countries. We are a member of the Eurozone, member of the Oecd, NATO, and all those other great organizations for several years already. Moving on, so why nearshore to Estonia? You will definitely hear a personal experience from Pipelife. So, but there are definitely several reasons. First of all, manufacturing. So a lot of companies are looking for new sites for manufacturing. That was the same case with Estonia when we regained our independence. So actually the first companies that nearshore to Estonia were Scandinavian, ABB, Ericsson. Later on, you have Wienerbergen, Heinzel Group, and then tons of other companies who have set up nearshoring locations here. We have a strong logistical infrastructure, business-friendly environment, as Ingrid mentioned, the ease of doing business rankings. Estonia ranks high every year. There's also a very competitive and simple tax system. So according to the Tax Foundation, Estonia's tax system has been ranked as first for 6 years in a row. And I will get to that in detail. Also, you have the labor force, of course, same reasons that everybody would probably mention, the reliability, hardworking, and high-skilled, plus the tech mindset and ecosystem. When you think about Estonia, people tend to think about e-solutions, e-Estonia. So we are in the forefront of everything in the internet world and these solutions. And also a couple of grants, but we'll touch on that later. So regarding ease of doing business, in Estonia, it's fairly simple to set up a company. It doesn't take a long time. Just maybe a personal explanation. I set up my own LLC on the back seat of a car while driving from one city to another. So that's just an example how easy it's to do. Taxation, I don't know exactly about Austria, but when I've been talking to German company representatives, they say that they have nightmares when it comes to taxation and then declaring taxes. It's not like that in Estonia. It's very simple. You can do it online wherever you are, whether it's for a private person or a company. And it's mostly automated anyways. And of course, e-residency. So Estonia is the first country in the world to offer e-residency, meaning that every single person can use our e-services wherever they are from, wherever they live. So we are not jealous. We like to share things that work, and this is something that has really gained popularity. There's almost 80,000 e-residents, and since if you do something good, others will follow. There already are countries that are moving towards building their own e-residency solutions as well. So to go a little bit into detail, taxes, that's always an important thing, an important field that people ask. So one thing to point out why Estonia has the highest ranking tax system in the OECD is because it's really simple, straightforward. The corporate income tax on reinvented and retained profits is 0%. Doesn't matter if it's a local or foreign company. And the only companies pay taxes when they take out dividends, when they distribute profits. So starting from 20%, it's flat. And if they do it year after year, it goes down to 14%. Also one important number is personal income tax. Same way, flat, 20%. So easy to remember, 0 and 20, 20, 20, basically. Moving on. World-class human capital, as I already mentioned, similar reasons. Just to give an overview, of course, the unemployment rate rose a little bit last year because of the COVID crisis. Affected every single country in the world. Estonia is no exception. The average gross salary in Q3 last year was around 1,400 euros, but it should be a little bit higher this year. And the regular work week, regular public holidays, and so on. Also, regarding human capital, maybe I would definitely mention that we are open to foreign talent, especially in the IT field, white-collar jobs, and so on. So education, really important thing for Estonians. Estonia is a small country. We don't have a lot of very expensive natural resources, so we might as well invest into our people. And according to OECD PISA test, Estonia ranks really high there every single year, actually even beating Finland. So we're really proud in that. Definitely check out the ratings. We put emphasis on ICT education, both in schools. Also, there are public sector and even private sector initiatives. For example, last year, several Estonian startup founders from Bolt, TransferWise, and some other IT sector people announced that they were opening up their own coding school in eastern Estonia. So just to solve the problem of lack of IT talents, the private sector is working on it itself as well. Yeah, as I mentioned before, I noticed during the Ukrainian presentation as well, each country has smart and hardworking people, and Estonia is definitely no exception. You consider having a highly skilled workforce. Being a small country with around 1 million Estonian speakers, we are forced to study foreign languages, and it's pretty common that most people speak at least one. It's very easy that they speak even 2 foreign languages. So Russian, really common, English, also German, Finnish, Swedish. So you'll probably not run into a younger person in Estonia who doesn't speak English or any other foreign languages. And of course, internet use. In Estonia, internet use is it's actually a public right here. It's very common. So a little bit about business culture. As I mentioned before, the first foreign investors who did like nearshoring investments here were Scandinavian companies, and with them they actually brought their business culture here as well. So we are really grateful for that. Estonians are innovative, open-minded, but very pragmatic. And if you get to know Estonians, we are maybe not so talkative, but we are more focused on action. So we talk the talk, but we also walk the walk in that sense. Wanted to mention one important sector, so electronics and mechatronics. As I mentioned before, ABB, Ericsson, just as a few examples, also Enix, Incap. an important sector here that actually exports most of the production. There are more than 250 companies in the sector and using modern technology. So maybe this is one thing to mention, that Estonia is not focusing on being like a low labor cost country anymore. We are more putting focus on automatization and then these kinds of processes, because having a small population, there is no point in focusing on labor intensive fields. So we rather put emphasis on having engineering jobs and let machines do the work for us. And also one thing to mention, definitely bring out, is that there is a strong ecosystem clusters in different fields, same way in electronics and mechatronics. So it creates great synergy among the companies and helps them exchange ideas, exchange solutions, and work together. So transport and logistics, definitely an important aspect when considering a nearshoring location. We are in a really good location when it comes to different markets. We are right next door to Scandinavia, next door to the Russian market, and close to Central Eastern Europe. There are different forms of transportation. You have ice-free ports in several parts of Estonia. Tallinn Airport is one of the closest airports to Asia for air freight. Also, the railway transportation is good and actually even developing. I will touch on this on one of the slides later on. Yes, so Rail Baltica, we call it the project of century. It's a collaboration between Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. So for historical reasons, as you probably know, Estonian and all the Baltic railway system is not aligned to the Western European system. So that's why we're changing that, and the Rail Baltica project is on its way, and we will have a railway connecting Tallinn all the way to Warsaw and through that Germany and the rest of the Western Europe. And for nearshoring, of course, not only focusing on manufacturing, I would also like to mention business services. So why a lot of companies have brought their business services or business service centers to Estonia is, first of all, the great talent. Also, compared to, let's say, Scandinavian countries, Western Europe, you have a lower cost rate here, but the cost and talent ratio is really good. Not only private companies have their business services here, also on big scale, like European Union's LISA Center and NATO's Cooperative Cyber Defense Center of Excellence is here in Estonia, because we are in the forefront of cybersecurity, definitely having a lot of experience in the field. And to name a few probably well-known companies, you have Arvato, Bertelmann, Länder, Nordea just expanded their business service center here, Finnair in Tartu, actually, Stora Enso, GMA, and so on and so forth. So, let's see if it's the last slide already. Yes, so from my side, that's it. Thank you for listening. I will answer questions if you have any later on, and looking forward to other presentations. So next up, it's our good neighbors from the south, Latvia, the land that sings. So I would give the floor to Mikos. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Vahur. I won't be singing today, but I will be presenting our situation here in Latvia. Briefly about Latvia, we are located right in the middle of these three Baltic states, with actually in the heart of the Northern Europe, with the great access to Scandinavian countries, CIS countries, and Russia, as well as Western Europe. In a few words about Investment and Development Agency of Latvia, we are a one-stop shop for any investor that is willing to come to Latvia. We are reporting to the Ministry of Economics, with four main functions that are considered about investments, trade, innovation, and tourism. What is also good from us that we have over 20 representation offices all around the world. So accessibility and connectivity are among the key factors for any investor. Thus, we are proud that Riga International Airport is the largest airport in the Baltics, both serving passengers and cargo. As my colleague from Estonia mentioned, also we are in the mix of Rail Baltica project with the construction already under its way. Yes, and about our location, here you can see that we are truly very accessible. We can use our railway system to access Asia, as well as our 3 ice-free ports that are also special economic zones to access Western Europe and further on, thus making the any investor delivery times shorter and the expenses for those deliveries cheaper. Latvian government has been active in supporting local businesses here in Latvia. Also, in the aftermath of COVID-19 that is still ongoing, Latvia has created several labor-related incentives to help businesses to stay above the water. And what is more, since the March of this year, so already for 4 days, we have implemented the green corridor access for added value investments here in Latvia that would fight against the long bureaucracy road and shorten it already in half. So here you can also see in this map that we have 5 special economic zones, 3 of them being ice-free ports here in Latvia. Yes, and Riga offers the lowest Class A office costs here in the Baltics. Our stock is already around 800 square meters here in Riga, and up until 2023, already 170 more square meters are under development. So the stock will increase and improve the vacancy rate here in Latvia. In general, there are 12 key industries, 12 key sectors that has LIAS and national focus on. And the biggest ones are woodworking, engineering and metalworking, and food processing here in Latvia. But since 2014, a smart specialization strategy has been implemented with a focus on 5 smart industries and value chains. That's being ICT, bioeconomy, smart energy, smart materials and photonics, and biomedicine. Latvia has a well-developed ICT infrastructure, as Latvians are number 3 in the world in mobile data usage, and 9 out of 10 of Latvian households have internet access. For example, me, I'm sitting around 150 kilometers from Riga, and I have a rather fair internet connectivity to join you today in this webinar. What is more, Latvia is proud to be a 5G pioneer in Europe, as already since 2019 there are 5G stations already working, with Latvia being a test bed for different solutions and innovations in 5G in such sectors as woodworking, agriculture, etc. One case study that is directly connected to the 5G story is the Fresh Smart City and Innovation District that is located in Riga, and it holds around 10% of all ICT specialists in Latvia located here in this place, and contributing to 40% of all Latvian ICT export coming from here. To further develop this project, Riga Municipality, Ministry of Economics, and our largest mobile operator, LMT, are among the key stakeholders that are moving it forward. Of course, all achievements wouldn't be possible without our labor force that is well-educated, multilingual, and possesses a Nordic culture fit and work ethic. We have one of the highest rates of university attendance in the world, and what sets Latvia apart is the high percentage of Russian speakers. Over 85% of Latvians speak Russian, and most of the people under age 40 speak English. And German and Scandinavian languages are also widely spoken here in Latvia. Since 2019, Latvia is among several countries in the world with 0% corporate income tax. The system is very similar to that my colleague from Estonia told us, and basically that works also here. That you have to pay tax only when upon dividends. What is good news is that since this year, our employers and employees' social tax have been decreased, as we see that we need to be more competitive in the tax field, and our personal income tax is progressive. That means that you have to pay more tax for more earnings you have. And our value-added tax has a standard rate of 21%, also being differentiated on several sectors. Latvia has a strong and dynamic startup community, and we were ranked #1 in the world as the most startup-friendly country by Index Ventures this year. And foreign company founders may be granted a startup visa, that is a temporary residence permit here in Latvia, upon the registration of his or her company, as well as receive tax benefits, and also receive co-financing of high-profile specialists and other support from the government. Here you can see some of our startups that are growing in the fertile soil of Latvian startup environment. And on this, I would like to conclude and invite Ruta from Invest Lithuania to continue and introduce us with the situation in Lithuania about the nearshoring options there.
Thank you so much, Mikus. My name is Ruta. I'm from Invest Lithuania, and today I'm super excited to tell you more about the manufacturing and the GBS industry here in Lithuania. So first of all, who we are. Invest Lithuania is a national investment promotion agency. We sit under the Ministry of Economy and Innovation, and we have around 100 people working in the agency. So 50 people like myself work in advisory, and 50% of people work in PMO, working directly with the government to continuously develop the investment environment. So today I want to very briefly present the industry, mainly via success cases, and then I will also touch on talent pool we have, the costs, and infrastructure. So when we talk about the business environment in Lithuania, it really stands out for being super business friendly. And here, as you can see on the left-hand side, we see the prestigious World Bank's Doing Business ranking, where Lithuania has been climbing up from 2010 to 11th place very steadily. And this ranking is important because it looks at numerous factors for doing business, such as opening the business procedures, how easy are they, how easy it is to access very highly educated talent, infrastructure, connectivity, and many other aspects. So that we are very happy about our current location, but we also are continuously developing to make sure that we strengthen the value proposition. And just to give you one example about the taxes as well. So we had one Scandinavian bank do their site selection, and Lithuania was shortlisted, but they had a little challenge about the stock options being charged with 31% of social security tax. So we raised this with the government, and in less than 1 month, this tax was completely reduced to 0%. So this just shows you that both the Lithuanian government and Invest Lithuania agency is very much on the same page to keep making the conditions for investors as friendly and as flexible as possible. Talking about global business service centers, we have 85 of them. Historically, our clients have mainly been Nordic and German companies because of the geographical location and cultural reasons. But recently, we've also seen the uptake of US companies. And in terms of the functions, the leading ones are IT, customer service, and finance and accounting. Now, if we talk about the clients that are looking for opportunities to establish their manufacturing plants, then Germany is a top investor, followed by Nordics and US. And then the top exports category is engineering, followed by furniture and food and beverages. So now if we look at Lithuania's map, you see Vilnius, the capital, and Kaunas, the second biggest city, forming a single GBS and manufacturing hub. So because these two cities are so close to each other, you can reach one to another just 1 hour via car. They also have international airports and very strong universities. So if we talk about the talent pool, we usually take them as one single talent catchment area. But also, if you're considering Lithuania as a potential location, it's nice to know some of the differences between these locations. So if you're looking for a global business service center, maybe focused, let's say, on a financial function, maybe you want to ramp up very quickly or have a lot of multilingual talent, then Vilnius could be a great location. If you're looking for IT or engineering functions or would like to establish a new manufacturing plant, then Kaunas could also be a great solution in that case. Because if you see on the right-hand side, this is the map for dedicated free economic zones, and Kaunas has one of the strongest zones where most of the main players like Continental and Hella have established their manufacturing plants. And here you can enjoy the corporate profit tax of 0% for the first 10 years, as well as dividend tax and real estate tax of 0% as well. And when we talk about the success cases, I'm really pleased with us having a long-lasting relationship with TGW, Austrian Logistics Automation Company. They stepped into Lithuania in 2017, creating their engineering center, and Kaunas team is really part of their core functions. So they do end-to-end software development, end-to-end engineering, and administration. And when we talk to TGW, they always stress that they chose Lithuania because of a very highly educated engineering talent, great English skills, and also perfect strategic location, especially knowing how important for them was being close to Nordic clients. Now, if we talk about companies that established their manufacturing plants, Continental is a really good success story because they established their plant in 2018. This is currently the biggest plant of such nature in Lithuania, and it has been awarded with multiple green awards. So Continental is currently taking this Lithuania's plant example and based on that building other plants in Mexico and Hungary. Now, our education system, Lithuania is really high on the table for young population with tertiary degree, and also we're second in Europe for digital skills. And this is not a surprise because in primary education, we already start learning coding schools. When we reach secondary education, we start learning second foreign language. So by the year of 12, we speak fluently English, and then we pick up German or French usually. And then we're also second in Europe for choosing STEM studies. So this is really supported also by the government, who are continuously establishing new upskilling and reskilling programs, especially for IT. To ensure that it's a really lifelong learning and people continuously have opportunities. And this is to show you that we have a very healthy number of professionals already employed in engineering and IT, but we also have a good number of students in these fields that are currently preparing for the market. So now the spicy topic that everyone loves talking about is the cost. So Lithuania hits the sweet middle, the sweet spot, as you see on this table. So on the left-hand side, we see the quality, in this case, the ease of doing business rank. And then at the bottom, we see the average hourly labor cost. And I'm happy to say that Lithuania is number 11th in terms of doing business rank, as mentioned before, just behind such countries as Denmark, Sweden, United Kingdom. But then if we look at the hourly cost, we are still 3 or 4 times less expensive than these locations. Now, the office space, both in Vilnius and Kaunas, is very modern, very much Nordic style. And what you get is still a fraction of cost of what you would have to pay in other locations, not just in UK or in Ireland, Western locations, but also in some of the CE locations like Poland. And finally, we have a very well-established brand new infrastructure, which puts us first globally for public Wi-Fi speed. Also, we are third globally for fiber coverage, just behind Korea and Japan, and taking global cybersecurity really, really seriously as well, which puts us highly on the table as well at the 4th position. So thank you so much for listening. I'm very excited for Q&A session, and also hopefully we'll catch up with some of you after the session. And now I would like to hand over to Mr. Antti Orov from Pipeline Baltics, and I'm really excited to hear about his overview on setting up a subsidiary in the Baltic states. Thank you.
Yes, hello, and hello from Tallinn, Estonia. We have already heard several exciting presentations, and I'm really proud to share some of mine here. My name is Antti Orov, and I've been in business in leadership positions for more than 25 years now. Started my career as a marketing and sales manager in Orkla Group, which is the Norwegian listed company. This actually provided me very good understanding of the Nordic business environment, as well as psychology, etc., etc., etc. Then later, I was arranging a few conferences. One to mention. About 5 years ago, I initiated the supply chain forum in Estonia to really bring together people to tackle these challenges. And now, for 5 years, I'm responsible for the Pipelife business in the Baltics. What is Pipelife? Pipelife and Wienerberger are one of the few Austrian companies present in the Baltics, and this is actually a shame. And I'm really kind of surprised that every now and then I see people who are kind of bit afraid of coming over here. Hopefully we can kind of help you a bit during this webinar today. But briefly about the Pipelife. Pipelife is a plastic pipe system provider. In the Baltics, we have 2 legal entities. We have 2 production sites in Estonia and then the sales offices in all three countries. We generate close to 30 million euros turnover annually, and our production volume is more than 8,000 tons of pipes. We are part of Wienerberger Group, which you probably know very well. It's the group with more than 200 years of experience. And just as to mention that besides Pipelife, we have also Wienerberger brick business present in the Baltics, serving also Russia. We heard 3 exciting competing presentations from Vahur, Mikus, and Ruta, and I think I have to kind of fight one myth. Yes, Pipelife, or sorry, there are 3 different countries in the Baltics, and we are, fighting every now and then to really stand up and stand out in the big crowd. But actually, we are 3 different but very friendly nations. We have so much in common, even if often people focus too much on the differences. And then the other myth is that Riga is the capital of the Baltics. No, Riga is the capital of Latvia, Vilnius being the capital of Lithuania, and Tallinn being the capital of Estonia. Then, main question now: why invest in the Baltics? Actually, if I would known what will be presented today, my presentation would be very, very short. But I brought out 3 aspects. One is the business environment, then the market, and then the human part of it, or the people. You heard so much already about the advantages of doing business in different Baltic countries, and I can only confirm that yes, it's mostly right. But you heard sales pitches, so you have to be critical a bit. But yes, ease of doing business is very, 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 very right to say. Estonia being the simplest, and Latvia, Lithuania really improving a lot. We have very active startup ecosystem in all 3 countries, and we as a company have also benefited from it, involving some people into our development projects. Then, of course, you have the support schemes, which we have also utilized, tax incentives, yes, and for those companies who still don't believe that is the Baltics still, a good place to go, I think the Baltics have the Nordic quality mark on. So I think that the Baltics were initially accepted by the Nordic investors and well known by their really high demands. Then the market. We talk about 3 countries, but then when you enter one of the Baltic countries, then you actually are in 3 in a very, very easy way. And this is also how we in Wienerberger and Pipelife are set up. We see Baltics as one home market. We are not really paying attention on the differences here. The environment is pretty much the same. People's mentality quite the same. So this is actually what you get at once. So you shouldn't be afraid of the small size of one or the other country. This is 3 countries. Then I think the Baltics are actually a very good, like a bridgehead to really wealthy region of Scandinavia, and also the vast potential of Russia, because the potential, I don't know, will it be utilized one day, but it's still there. And if you look at the long perspective, then the walls may one day fall down. There is really integrated regional infrastructure in the Baltics, as well as all the routes and connections, really connecting the whole wider region, Baltics and the Scandinavia. And there is more to come. Rail Baltica is one project already mentioned by Vahur earlier. Also, lots of port projects, and maybe one of the most exciting project is a tunnel between Tallinn and Helsinki. But this seems to be now a bit like a theoretical. But still, people here are not afraid to think big. And then people, I think this is actually should be the main reason if one wants to invest in the region. I think that we are few but smart, and every company or every investor willing to invest in the Baltics should really respect the cultural heritage. The Baltics are not anymore low labor cost country, even if our labor costs are still maybe 50% of what it is in Scandinavian countries. But we are not, if you want to build something cheap, then find other place. But if you are interested in people, human capital, then this is the place to go. People here are very practical, and this is what I have experienced here, having career in different international companies who are actually over time building some bureaucracy. And I have heard this sentence: stop this corporate bullshit. People don't want to listen corporate bullshit. They want to do their work. They want to be trusted. They want to have a fair pay. So if you want to cheat, if you want to kind of be unfair, then find some other region. People are very entrepreneurial. Sometimes we even have to stop some technical guys in the factory. So stop improving this little bits here and there, and so we have to really provide clear focuses to people, not to really waste money and time in improving little things. But the mentality is here, because we have gone through the Soviet era when there is deficit all around, and people had to be creative to really survive. And this is now in our genes. The good thing is also people know what is Ordnung here. So we respect our policies, ISO systems. Workplaces are clean in most of the companies. Of course, there are always some laggards, but we know what Ordnung means. We even use this sentence every now and then, that Ordnung, that we respect the time, we respect the money. And then the people are really digital savvy. So we want to learn. People are willing to use new technologies. Of course, there are also some older age groups where this is more challenging. But even my mother, becoming 80 this year, he's using computer, doing all the bank transactions herself from the computer. It's easy. It's no brainer here. So if you want to come to the Baltics, then think people first. If you want to save some money on some production activities, then think twice. But even then, I think we can find some reason to come, because we are very much now in the digitalization and automatization wave. We are investing. Actually, we have started investing several years back, into our information system. Last year, rolled out SAP ERP system. Now investing in a production automation, because we don't want to employ more people, but we want to provide more meaningful jobs for our people. And this is the way I can maybe speak for the whole Baltics. We think here. So this is briefly it. If you have any more specific questions, you can always get in touch with me directly. Would be pleased to really assist some more Austrian companies to come over here. But anyways, you are most welcome to the Baltics. Shouldn't be afraid. We are normal people over here. So this is it from my side, and now it's time for question and answers. I invite all the Baltic colleagues to join this session, which will be hosted by Mrs. Ingrid Valentini-Vanka.
Thank you so much, Antti, and thanks to everybody for the presentations. Antti, you beautifully wrapped it up, and you gave also this little touch of critical questioning of all the good messages. However, the message remains clearly positive. I also have received some questions which have basically been partly replied already, but there are some with a little critical aspect as well, which I would like to ask, even if we have run a little bit over time. So my question to everybody is, in your answers, please try to be as succinct as possible, so we have a chance to take still more of the questions. Let's start maybe with one aspect that has come in that raises the issue of availability of labor force, of qualified labor. This has been a major issue in many markets. And one participant particularly refers to Lithuania, but I think the question refers to all markets. Is it easy, or how can we attract and retain talent? And do you have some good advice how to go about if you think about starting direct business in the country? Maybe I start with Ruta, but quick answers from the others afterwards are also appreciated.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. That's a great question. We hear that a lot. And obviously, people are sometimes quite scared, about the small numbers if you look at all Baltic states. But I think to start answering this question, is important to look at the saturation levels. So how much space do companies actually have to grow? So if we imagine the difference between, let's say, Lithuania, we have 10 people working in GBS per 1,000 residents, while in some other CE region locations like Krakow, this might be like 90 people. So in Lithuania, you don't have to fight for talent with so many other GBS centers, with so many other regional headquarters. So essentially, it's easier. But also, as mentioned by Ukraine representatives, we see a lot of people coming back, which is obviously nice for some countries, not so nice for others, from where that talent is coming back. And we see that especially in Lithuania, talent that comes back wants to work for international companies and wants to use those language skills. And that's why the international companies that have GBS centers are the most popular employers. In surveys, we see that 6 out of 10 top employers are exactly the GBS companies. And that's why talent attrition as well is just 14%. So it means that you not only attract the talent, but it's quite easy to maintain it. However, just to finish off, I think you need to still think about the opportunities you give to people. So in Baltic states, people want to be highly responsible, want to do interesting job, want to have good social balance as well, to sometimes, have a good party. So if you're a company, you need to think about all of these aspects when you are thinking about relocation.
Thank you. I would propose that the others add something if it's really country specific. Otherwise, if you feel that this covers also your view, then I would move on to the next question.
Yeah, maybe I would add. So similarity with Lithuania and Ukraine in Estonia is that so there are more people returning to Estonia rather than leaving Estonia. So you have good talent that has been educated abroad, that has good experience from big foreign corporations and bringing it back to Estonia. And also just to mention, of course, every country has immigration quotas. Estonia is no exception. But for higher value-added jobs, Estonia doesn't have any limits. So we are really open to IT talent, engineers, and then just in general higher value-added jobs to come here to Estonia.
Okay.
Yes,
Another. Well, okay, sorry.
I would like to add, yeah, a lot of similarities also here in Latvia. One thing that maybe my colleagues didn't mention is the incentives that are labor related, that also works on this high qualified specialists, bringing them here in Latvia and in Lithuania and Estonia as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one aspect that has partly been covered by Antti already, but that came up in the question was whether there is an issue about the market size, because even if you take the 3 countries together, it's 6 million. So does it make sense from your view to have a direct investment with a view of serving the local market, or should the main driver always be more to add a nearshoring investment in the international supply and value chains? Antti, maybe you take that.
Yeah, it very much depends on your business. If you are oriented to the consumer market, then of course size matters. But if you are more on a business services example, then, or even in manufacturing, I think would really make sense to set up a good nearshoring plant somewhere in the Baltics and really to serve Scandinavia from here. So the answer is that it very much depends on the business you are in, but the size doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One question that was put particularly to Latvia was because Latvia has this reputation as a logistic hub on the crossroads between north-south and east-west. And actually, I would think that this is true for all Baltic countries. How can this be used by an Austrian subsidiary in concrete terms? Mikus, maybe you take that first.
Yeah. So in general, I think that the high accessibility, as I mentioned in my presentation, is can be applied to all our countries. Yeah, there are some things that stand out more in Latvia, for example, our international airport, but also in Lithuania and Estonia, the international accessibility is very high. So in terms of accessibility, I think that all 3 countries are in good shape, and there are, let's say, for example, some companies that choose Latvia just because of the international airport to use it for logistics, but in general, Tallinn is 4 hours from Riga, and business is also around like that. So it is not a major issue.
And it will be much closer once Rail Baltica has been finished.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, I think because time has really passed on and you kindly agreed that you would continue the dialogue afterwards. So I would thank you now and finish also the second part. We now come to the end of our sessions. Ich werde noch einmal kurz Deutsch sprechen. Wir haben dieses Webinar im Rahmen der Internationalisierungsoffensive Go International für Sie durchgeführt und hoffen, dass auf dieser Reise auch etwas Interessantes für Sie dabei war, die uns einerseits in die östliche Nachbarschaft und andererseits in 3 EU-Mitgliedstaaten im Nordosten Europas geführt haben. Falls einige Fragen von Ihnen jetzt noch nicht beantwortet sind, keine Sorge, wir werden das nachher aufgreifen, auch falls Sie nach Durchsicht der Unterlagen, die wir Ihnen zuschicken werden, irgendetwas entdecken, was Sie vertiefen möchten. Natürlich stehen wir Ihnen nicht nur zu diesem Thema, sondern zu allen Fragen der Marktbearbeitung, sowohl mit den Teams in der Ukraine als auch hier im Baltikum, jederzeit zur Verfügung. Und als letzten Hinweis: Wir kümmern uns natürlich um unsere Länder, aber die Außenwirtschaft Austria ist weltweit für Sie da. Meine Kollegin hat bereits das internationale Maschinenforum erwähnt, das Sie hier auch im Link sehen. Und ich möchte noch kurz erwähnen, ein neues Informationsprodukt, die Global Situation Report. Das erscheint alle 2 Wochen und stellt 5 besonders interessante Exportmärkte in einer sehr neuen Darstellungsform dar. Mit einem Klick können Sie sich dort anmelden. Das war's eigentlich. So back to English now. We really have reached the end of our webinar. We took a bit longer than expected, but we had a lot of content, so I think it was worthwhile. Let me now ask all speakers back to join me here. Fortunately, they all have agreed kindly to continue the dialogue also directly with you. So this is not the end of our conversation. but for today, that's it. So vielen Dank, thank you very much, and goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen.